Prospect podcast interview. May also be listening to this on the Believe in FCS show that is hosted by Mr. Joe DeLeon and Sean Anderson. Wanted to bring to you a little combination here. We have a 2023 NFL draft prospect. Yes, we're already on board for 2023, and we also have one of the better defensive backs on the FCS level. If you're familiar with the Missouri Valley Conference talent that comes out of there every single year, and the Northern Iowa football team specifically has been really pumping out talents from Spencer Brown, Ellerson Smith to Trevor Penning this past year. A lot of great football players coming out of Northern Iowa. I think I have the next one with me right now, defensive back Benny Sapp III. Benny, appreciate you again, man, stopping in. I know it's hectic right now, finishing up the semester, doing all that type of stuff, man, but appreciate you.
Man. No, you're no problem, man. Appreciate it. I appreciate all the support you and your guys do for, especially, SCS players specifically. We don't really get a lot of exposure, and you guys do the best y'all can, to help us get out there on the map. So I appreciate it.
Oh, man, absolutely. And Benny, I mean, just so you know, man, I've had a good relationship with Northern Iowa guys over the last couple years, man. Like I had a nice relationship with Spencer and Ellerson, like I kind of mentioned. Yeah. Xavier was a guy that I really loved a lot. Yeah, man. I'm hoping for him for the best. I know, Iowa didn't turn out quite the way that he wanted to, but he's in an NFL camp, so hoping the best for him, obviously. Man. And want to start you out, man. I always do these as kind of like a little bit of a journey kind of through, how you are to where you are now. So I want to go back to, I think it's pronounced Eden Prairie. Do I have that right, the high school?
Yeah.
So you're a Minnesota guy, and you ultimately actually go to the University of Minnesota to start your career. So can you just take me through the high school career a little bit and the recruiting background of how you ended up as a Golden Gopher originally?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm originally from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I basically went to St. Thomas Aquinas and Fort Lauderdale my 9th and 10th grade year. And my freshman year, they moved me up to varsity in the spring, for spring ball, because, in Florida, we can, play ball all the time. So I moved up. They let me move up, and I got an opportunity. At first, it was kind of shaky, but thank God, though, the college coaches and everybody wasn't out there, because the first week, I felt like on varsity, I was getting killed every other day. And then that second week, they came out there, I guess, because they just finished their spring work up there. And I don't know, it was like a something like switch. And I got adjusted pretty good. And my freshman year, I ended up with 21 offers, Division I offers. And then I had, unfortunately, tore my ACL my freshman year in the summer. And it was at a camp, at a Miami 707 camp my freshman year. And so after that, I couldn't play my sophomore year. I had to heal up. And then after my sophomore, the season, we got spring ball again. So then, I'm getting ready for that. And then I tear my ACL again. And then so then after that, me and my family just wanted to pack up, just start somewhere fresh, better opportunities and stuff. So I moved to Minnesota my junior year of high school, Eden Prairie. And then after I moved to Eden Prairie, I had to sit out, my junior year. And during my junior year, that's when Coach Fleck came in. And he seen that, I had a lot of injuries and stuff. And he seen that, I kept trying, and that's really what one of his mantras is, to never give up. And he really liked that about me. And he really solely took me on that and, my potential and, my pedigree. And then so after committing my junior year, senior year comes, I'm ready now to have 2 surgeries, I'm ready. And I've been out for a year and a half and practicing, getting ready. Then everything go pretty good until the third game, warming up. I had to my meniscus, And so then, so basically that really how my high school career went. I only really had 2 games, in high school, and then, a spring game in Florida. But that's really what was it. And so that's what really led Minnesota to, to me, because everybody really backed off on me and really didn't, really want to give me an opportunity for real until like the last week of signing day. Like Nebraska wanted me to, flip on like a week before signing day. And I just couldn't flip. Like, I love Nebraska. Nebraska real good. They're a real good team. But I can't really, flip a week before signing day when these guys stuck here with me throughout the whole way,
Yeah.
That's what really led my decision of going to Minnesota.
Benny, I think that speaks to the quality of player you are, right? Because after dealing
Mhm.
with so many injuries, I mean, you
Yeah,
still end up in the Big Ten, right? Like,
yeah,
it's pretty nice, man. What's it
no,
like though? I mean, honestly, because I know obviously you played at Minnesota and you
yeah.
left obviously now that Northern Iowa, but can you speak to just the respect maybe you have for Coach Fleck and that staff for
Mhm.
sticking by you? Because that's not easy
Nah, yeah,
always.
nah, yeah, man. I got the utmost respect for those guys. They really didn't have to do any of the things that they said that they was going to do. Because a lot of coaches would sit there and just watch that kid away, and I probably would end up going JUCO or anything like that. So like giving me an opportunity to play Division I ball at a Power 5 level in the Big Ten. I mean, you really
Yeah.
can't ask for nothing better than that. So I really do appreciate those guys for that.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised. Just everything I've heard of Coach Fleck that was kind of sticking by their guys and doing all that type of
Hmm.
stuff. That's really nice to hear. And Benny, I want to ask because obviously your dad played in the NFL for a
Yeah.
long time, and I know I think he spent some time with the Dolphins and he spent some
Hmm.
time with the Vikings. So you kind
Yeah.
of been all over the place a little
Yeah.
bit. But what was it like, kind of playing down St. Thomas Aquinas, one of the
Mhm.
best schools in the country, obviously
Yeah.
playing down in the warm weather, and then all of a sudden another culture shock going back up to Minnesota.
Man, going to Minnesota, man, it was like it was something that I ain't never really like expect in my life, because it was my junior year, so I'm thinking like I'm about to be a big man on campus, like I've been here for 2 years already, going to my third year at the same school, like, like, hey, it's getting that time, like, what I'm saying, I get to, really get to be a big guy on there. And then my parents, they tell me we going to Minnesota. I was crying, I was sad, you know, and then, I go up and the coach shot hit me. And when it hit me, I didn't even know what to do for real. And I'm actually like I'm really like glad now that I did move, because now I know how to like communicate way better. Because in Florida, like, we got like this little language system, how we like our little slang and stuff. Everybody can't really understand that. So like going to
Mhm.
Minnesota really helped me like expand my vocabulary and how to like talk to everyone. And I feel like we need to know that in life for sure. So
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
no,
so
that's a great point. I feel like most people aren't even aware of that. Like that's very
yeah,
interesting. And obviously, you spend a little time in Minnesota. You end up
yeah,
at Northern Iowa. Can you take me through, because I mean, transfer is such an ordinary thing now with the
yeah,
transfer portal and how all that stuff works. Take me through maybe. I mean, because you're getting recruited basically a second time now.
yeah. You basically get re-recruited. Yeah.
Yeah, so take me through that decision, obviously, to leave Minnesota and how you
Mhm.
ended up with the Panthers at Northern Iowa.
Yeah, so what led me to the decision to transfer from the University of Minnesota was basically just just opportunity. It wasn't because I wasn't, getting treated bad or anything, or those kind of, things of that nature. The coaches, everybody was respectful, the players, the assistants. I just wasn't me personally. I just feel like I didn't get the right opportunity to, shout out my dreams, and I feel like if I would have stayed there, I would have probably eventually got a shot to play this year, maybe. And still trying to, fight and compete to play on defense. When, at the time I was just doing special teams, and nothing wrong with special teams. Some special teams, sometimes you need to, make a team, especially in the NFL, just to stay on the team.
Yep.
But my goal, in college was, to play defense. And I felt like I, burnt 2 of my years in college, playing special teams, so I felt like, that was me giving back to the game. And plus, I didn't, play that much. So I'm really just learning out there, just running around, on kickoff. And so I felt like it was just time, like, it was time for me to go, to seek out a better opportunity. And, Northern Iowa felt perfect due to, like you said before, my dad, coming here at the Iowa.
Yep.
Um, it just felt like I'll just get the right opportunity, and I feel like I couldn't pass up on it, and I really got over that point in my mind that it really doesn't matter where you go, to school. You just need to put on tape, and that's what I like about at least this generation of football, because you got Christian Watson going second round out of North Dakota State, and you don't really get to see things like that, and now it's happening, and so it really got over that mindset of I can go FCS. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter where you go, as long as you put out tape, put your faith in God or whoever you believe in. I mean, everything else gonna take care of itself.
Yeah, no, it's really well said because I think this past draft there was a record 24 guys from the FCS drafted
Yeah,
or something like that. So I mean, yeah,
yeah,
if you can play football, they are absolutely going to find you. There's no doubt
no, for
about
sure.
that. And let me ask you, Benny, because I know so you transferred to Northern Iowa,
Yes,
where
sir.
your dad played, obviously, and was a
Mhm.
great player for Northern Iowa. Is it kind of was that kind of cool for your dad to get back to the program a little bit and see you play
Yeah,
for his alma mater?
nah, yeah. So, my dad, he actually coaching now. So he's actually out here. No, not he's not out here right now, but he was out here in the spring. So for like my spring practices, my dad was really out there on the field, and it was just we, me and my dad, like every other father and son, have a lot of heart to hearts, and
Yeah,
we really just, just like dang, like pops, like hey, it's not crazy because like what I told you before. Obviously he knows that because he's my father. He's the one that had to keep my head high, like
hmm
encourage me, throughout the whole process. So like to see all this stuff happening now, like the coming fruition is like real good to see, real happy to see.
yeah, no, and obviously that's what dads are for. I mean, I'm a father now, and it's just like you
Yeah,
gotta keep your kid's head up, like you kind of said. But I need to ask about the other layer of that, right? Like he was a
yeah,
NFL player, really great player at Northern Iowa, played in the NFL for a long time. What's he like as far as critiquing your game on the field? Is he a little harsh
yeah.
critic in that regard?
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep it blood honest with you. So I'll probably say all the way up until this spring. I say he kind of backed off on kind of like critiquing me a little bit. He more is just trying to give me like pointers on how to execute my technique within my technique, and
Mm-hmm.
give the offense a chance, to get the ball back as soon as I can.
Sure.
Within playing within myself and not getting out of frame or doing something crazy to hurt the team. So that's really what he been just putting me on like the knowledge that he learned in the NFL, and he really just been now critiquing like my friends, my roommates, my teammates, really trying to help them now too, because as you can see, like my especially like my family, like we're real passionate about the game, and everybody obviously sees that and they just want to learn. So my dad really just really out there just critiquing everyone, seeing what can he do to put them in the best position for themselves. That's what I really like about my dad because he really gives back a lot more than he has to. I really appreciate that, boy, for real. Huh?
Yeah. And I want to ask you, Benny, because I mean, so you transferred to Northern Iowa in the
Mhm,
midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, obviously, right? The fall gets
mhm.
pushed into the spring. So you're playing spring right into the fall. What was that
Yeah.
like, man? It had to be a little weird, maybe.
Nah, yeah. So coming here, I'm already, like trying to hurry up and work out because I just, came from a camp
Mhm.
in September, and I get here in December. So, I'm training by myself with my trainer in Minnesota, TNT trainer. I'm sitting there training back there in Minnesota, and then as soon as I get here, I catch COVID. And so I catch COVID, so I'm in my room for 2 weeks, and then we got fall, like basically spring camp, spring
Mhm.
fall camp, literally in a week. So I only did like 1 or 2 workouts, like 1 or 2 weeks worth of workouts with them, and I had to get straight right in. And I shout out to my former DC and a couple of my teammates, helping me out throughout the process, trying to learn it because they knew it was a hassle to learn like the defense because you really need to learn your formations and the terminology to speak it back in the
Yeah.
defense. So I just really had to hurry up and learn the terminology, the formations, and then everything else just came off of just the experience and the reps. Because when I first got in the game, it wasn't like practice. It was moving fast. Everything was moving fast. So you really just
Yeah.
get acclimated for real. Just the experience. Pretty much really did it though.
And I would love to hear your insight because I've asked a lot of Northern Iowa players before about the
Mhm.
strength and conditioning program because Jeb
Yeah,
Smith and that crew does just an incredible job. You have a unique one though because you come from a Big Ten school that has
yeah,
obviously great nutrition, great staff.
yeah,
How legit is this Northern Iowa strength and conditioning
yeah.
program?
This is probably like the most legit strength program probably out there in the country. Just far as just the all the equipment and everything that we have and the stuff that we do with what we have is incredible. Like all the pictures like with Trevor Penning. Trevor was like 240, 280, I guess, like 240 when he got to college. And Coach
Yeah.
Jed got him to 320. You know what I'm saying? And I never ever in my life squatted over 420 pounds. And Coach Jed got me like squatting at 475 for 3 times now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really I don't look at it as a, weight room. It's really a mental, like it gets your mind stronger because he's gonna test you. Like we gonna do if you mess up, got punishment in there. And then, after a while you catch on. So like, it teaches you discipline, a lot of stuff like that. Like the little details can really mess up a game for real. And that's what you really learn going in there. So by the time you leave there, you're gonna be mentally strong, you're gonna be physically strong, and I mean, that's really all you need for real. And everything else is gonna play itself. But yeah, real deal, top notch.
And I'll say this, man. I'll say this. Coach Smith, I actually had a phone call with him last year because I wanted to just kind of
Yeah,
glimpse into it. And he told me what's in like the jungle juice and all that
yeah.
type
He
of
got that
stuff,
jungle
man.
juice. He got all that jungle juice. He got a Bible nutrition book for you, a nutrition Bible book. Because we obviously in the FCS, so we don't really get as much as like the nutrition part. But he
Sure.
he made out a whole book for us to make at home, and it's way easier like that. Just reading off a recipe, ingredients. That's it.
It's
So
crazy,
he really
man.
do a lot for us.
Oh no, I know he does, and I know. I mean, he even tells me about like the incoming freshmen coming in, and the
Yeah,
I think it's a 4-step program or 3-step program, something like that, kind of
yeah,
projecting them, their bodies, and
hmm
yeah, he's a madman, man. I love that
yeah,
guy though. He's awesome. And Benny, I really wanted to talk a little bit about this
hmm
past fall season, obviously, because you
yeah,
had a breakout season. You make all Missouri Valley, and
yeah,
again, for people that don't understand it, you come from the Big Ten, so you're used to great competition. But Missouri
yeah,
Valley is pretty much considered the SEC of the
yeah,
FCS level, right? So
for
just talk
sure.
to me about that breakout season. And I mean, you finally got full-time playing time, and because I know you had played obviously in the spring, but you really finally
Yeah.
made your mark on the game. It seemed.
hmm Um, the fall was it was really really kind of crazy because I really just took it as 1 week game. So like whoever was playing at that time, that's just that just was my main focus. So every week I got this team after the game, have fun. Monday, who we got next, and that's how I took it throughout the whole year. And then after I did that, and I looked up at the end of the year, first team, Missouri Valley, like it's really I really never really like looked at all those things, and like, put like stats on myself because I feel like, whatever I'm gonna have, God's gonna give me. So I really don't, put all my, like, oh, I'm gonna want this stats, I want this stat, I want 80 stats, what I'm saying? I don't do none of that. I just let, God do that for me because I really believe it. Got like a strong faith in him. And
Yep.
so I really just, stayed the course 1 week, 1 week games, and then look up, and then it's like, dang, like it's crazy, break out all this stuff. This Rich is pretty cool. To let me, for sure to let me know that I'm doing everything right. I'm on the right path. I really don't really look at it too much for real. I just, just trying to just week by week, just do it week by week, and then after the season, look up and enjoy it after that.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I know. I mean, when I watched your film, man, I saw a dude that is a very hard hitter. I mean, to say the least. Like you reminded me a little bit of DJ Swearinger, who I felt like
Yeah,
was one of the most underrated safeties in recent
for
time.
sure.
Like people undervalued him a little bit because they didn't think he was a great cover man, even though he actually kind of was. He was
Nah,
just a
yeah.
heavy hitter. Are there some guys? Obviously, you've been around NFL guys
Nah, yeah,
before.
because that's crazy you said that because
Yeah,
I actually worked out with DJ Swanger last year in the summer,
nice.
and I had asked them what do they look at, as far as the safeties, because the man has played like 19 years in the league, and he's like a hard hitting dude. So like I had really had to like ask him, and he really said, he told me that what they look for in NFL is like tackling, and that's
Hmm.
half the battle. And then once you know how to cover everything else, that boosts your stock, especially at safety.
Yeah,
Tackling, you got to be able to tackle open space and stuff like that. And covering, if you can cover at safety, then your value raise up for sure. And he told me that, and I'm never gonna forget that. When he told me that, I really had to especially going into the camp, like real lock in on like getting my angles better, stuff
yeah.
like that. Covering obviously, but yeah, that boy DJ Swanger, a dog for sure.
Yeah, man. No, he was. I mean, that guy was a tone setter. That was a definition.
Yeah,
And like you said, I mean, I think you're a good athlete. I think you hit very
Mm.
hard. I think you're a guy that can play from the roof to the box. I think there's a lot of things. And then you mentioned you played a lot of special teams in your career too, so that's a
Yes.
big bonus for you.
Yeah, that's
I
a
get
big plus.
Yeah, I guess my last things, man, is I just want to kind of touch on. I'm expecting obviously a big thing out of the team next year. I think you guys
Mhm.
are going to be another really good team like you've had over the last couple years. But just
Sure.
kind of looking forward a little bit, 2023 NFL draft, knowing because I mean you've had a long road, obviously, right, with the
Mhm.
injuries and transferring schools, and it's been a long road. Knowing that maybe this time next year you could be a professional football player, drafted in the NFL potentially. Just what type of blessing is that, and how long has that been a dream for you overall?
Uh, it's been a dream for me since I was 5 years old. It really has, and then I really appreciate my dad not pushing me, trying to make me work out like certain other fathers to force the game on them. He let the game kind of come natural, like to me, and that's what I really appreciate because now I got my own passion and my own heart in the game as well, and it really been a dream since my whole life and everything that I went through. I probably honestly I couldn't tell you this like a year ago or 2 years ago from now. I really couldn't. I really wouldn't be able to answer that for you. And it really just like it's still crazy to think still think about it next year like my name potentially being called and everything. And it really probably gonna be a crazy day, probably a good emotional day for sure. But I'm really just happy that my family and everybody stuck with me because everybody really could have just kicked me to the curb, and
Yeah.
they stuck with me, and it's just gonna be a real good day, happy day, like a real exciting day. So
Well, Benny, I hope everybody out there got a lot of this conversation. There's a lot of resilience in this conversation. There's obviously a really good
mm,
football player in this conversation, and I really appreciate you taking us through your
no
journey. Again,
problem,
joined by Benny Sapp III, defensive back out of Northern Iowa. Benny, again, appreciate it, man. This was fantastic.
no problem.